a salary is that you can get overtime. So if you do your standard, it's usually somewhere around 40 hours a week. Once you go over that, you start getting paid overtime. So it can start out at what we call time and a half, where you get 1.5 times the amount of pay that you normally would. Or if it's sometimes if it's on the weekends, if you're working on weekends, you might just get double time the whole time, which is really cool. So if you get $10 an hour normally, all of a sudden you're getting $20 an hour. Or I think if you work Christmas Day, I'm not sure if it's still the case, but it used to be triple time if you work on Christmas Day. But mostly the ones we're going to be doing is going to be either time and a half or double time for overtime. So here are our examples. Liam earns a normal rate of $11.68 per hour. Calculate Liam's hourly rate when he works time and a half. So time and a half literally just means 1.5. So if he normally gets $11.68, I times that by 1.5. Now you can write it as, I usually prefer to write it as a fraction because 1.5, but you can type that in as 1.5 on your calculator because that will be faster to type in. So 11.68 times 1.5 means that he's now going to get $17.52 per hour for those overtime hours, however many hours that is. Okay, what if he gets double time? Double time just means we times his pay by 2, because that's doubling, times by 2. So $11.68 times 2 is $23.36. Okay, so just as soon as you see those words, time and a half, it means you times by 1.5, and double time means times by 2. Okay, now, question number 2. Ella is a waitress who is paid time and a half for working on Saturday. So there's that time and a half, that's our 1.5 bit. Calculate Ella's wage for a Saturday on which she works 8 hours. So that's going to be important. She works 8 hours, and her normal rate of pay is $12.43. Okay, so the time and a half, the 8 hours, and the $12.43, they're the important parts here. So I start with her $12.43. That's her normal pay. I'm going to times that by 1.5 because she's doing this as overtime, right? But we also times that by 8 hours because she works for 8 hours. Does that make sense? And that's it. Times it all together. 12.43 times the overtime and times the 8 hours. So she gets $149.16. Make sure you ask questions if it doesn't make sense, all right? Let me know. Question 3. Adrian works Thursday nights and Saturday nights in a department store. On Thursday, he works for 4 hours at a rate of $9.35 per hour. On Saturday, now I'm going to highlight this in a different colour. On Saturday, he works for 8 hours at time and a half. Okay, so that time and a half means the 1.5 bit again. Okay, so Thursday, that's a normal weekday. He just gets his normal pay. So to work out his Thursday pay, we would just go $9.35 times by 4 hours. Right? That's what he gets for Thursday. But, don't type that in yet. Plus, he's going to get paid for Saturday. Now, Saturday's the weekend, so I guess that's why he's getting an overtime pay in there. He still gets his $9.35, but we times that by 1.5 because he's getting overtime pay for this. And he does that for 8 hours. Now, although you don't need them, often when I write these questions down, I put this in brackets because I go, that's my first day, that's what he got for Thursday, and that's what was the second day. So I can see that you've thought through both days. First day, second day. And then you type that into your calculator. You don't need the brackets, as I said, though. They're just there to help you see the two different parts of the question. So 9.35 times 4 plus the 9.35 times 1.5 times 8. Yeah, same thing as me, 149.6. 149.6 or 60 because it's money. Okay, so that is overtime pay. That's what we're going to be practicing today. So your sheet is right there, page 26.